Great. So this is our small introduction to present perfect, but really it's a review of all the tenses that we've been learning over the last couple of years. These are some questions, and the thing I'm trying to get you to do here is to really look at the auxiliary verb and the main verb to work out the names of the tenses. So, if the auxiliary verb is do or don't, and I've written some notes here, do, don't, does or doesn't, it's going to be present simple because this auxiliary verb is in the present tense. But still look at both, because when you have the auxiliary verb do, don't, does and doesn't, it's really important that the main verb is always in the infinitive, present simple, first person only. Here we have our first ever present perfect question. Present perfect uses the auxiliary verb have or has plus the past participle. Now I haven't really taught you that yet, but that's what I'm going to teach next week. Whenever we see have or has as an auxiliary verb, we know it's going to be present perfect. There's another question of present perfect here. Which countries have you visited? Present perfect. Now here we have what did you do before that. Here we have the auxiliary verb do again, but it's in the past. So we know it's going to be past simple. It's nice to check that the main verb is still present simple, first person infinitive. That's really important for past simple. And here we have another one. When and why did you go there? The auxiliary verb is did. We know it's past simple, but check to make sure that the main verb is always also infinitive, present perfect, first person. It's essential. We've got to get these two right. Now, the last two here, what were you doing last night? Well, this is in the past. Now, in order to figure out what it is, we need to look at the main verb. It's an ing. If you've got the past, which is the verb to be, and an ing, we know it's past continuous. It's always going to be past continuous. And therefore, what are you doing right now? This is the present of the verb to be, and an ing verb, present continuous. Down here, I've written a reminder. Do, don't, does, doesn't, present simple. Did and didn't, past simple. Have and has, present perfect. Am, is and are, well, we need to check. Because sometimes it can be continuous. I'll just add was and where here. So sometimes it can be present continuous or past continuous, but only if the main verb is an ing verb. But it could also be passive, and that's only if the main verb is the third column past participle. So that's basically it. That's basically our tense structures for all of these different tenses. Just a reminder, here we're looking at auxiliary verbs and main verbs and all these different tenses. But we need to be careful, because if you see sentences where there's only one verb, then we need to check the tense. So I have 3 children. Have is the only verb. It doesn't come with a main verb. It's the only verb. And if it's the only verb, it's going to be present simple. If you want to put it in the past simple, you say, I had dinner last night, for example. Had would be the only verb, so it'd be past simple. I am a housewife, present simple, because there aren't 2 verbs. There isn't an auxiliary and a main verb. There's only one verb. Therefore, it's just the main verb. Therefore, it's present simple. I do my homework every day. Do. If it's an auxiliary verb, it's going to be present simple. Actually, even if it's the main verb, it's present simple as well. But still check for 2 verbs and analyse. This is what we need to do. I did it yesterday, past simple. When were you at school? Past simple. We're not going to say past continuous, because for past continuous you need the auxiliary verb to be in the past and an ing verb. But there's no ing verb here. There's just one verb, and it's the main verb. So if it's like this, it can only be present simple or past simple. This is like the exception to this entire structure. With this entire structure, you can fit every single tense of the English language. The only auxiliary verb that I've missed out here, which is quite important, is the auxiliary verb from the modal verb section, which is will, and will deals with the future. So that's a really quick introduction to present perfect. Next week we're going to go into structure and reasons why we use present perfect, and then we're going to start doing more exercises.